Hi everyone and welcome to another card making video. This time I'm making two cards. I use the Foursquare Backdrop die from Lawn Fawn, which gives you a negative space to use on a second card. I use many double elements, so making two cards is super quick and easy. So without further ado, let me show you how I made these cards. Spreek je Nederlands? Er is ondertiteling beschikbaar. I started cutting the frame out of purple cardstock. Now, with Distress Oxide Villainous Potion and the blending brush, I'm adding some dimension. By the way, if you want to know more about the supplies I'm using, check out the blog post I linked in the description. I add some ink to every corner and some in the middle of the frames. Then I continue with the squares. I blend some ink to all of the bottom sides. Included with the frame die are these cloud and moon dies. I cut these out of some colored cardstock. I'm also adding some ink to these to give them a little dimension as well. For the clouds I'm using weathered wood. For the moon I'm using fossilized amber. With the largest frame from the large stitched rectangle stackables from Lawn Fawn, I cut two pieces of cardstock that is suitable for ink blending. I'm using Crafter's Companion white stamping card. They renamed this to white multi-purpose card, by the way. My favorite stencil for cloud backgrounds is the Lawn Fawn Cloudy stencil. For these cards I pair it with Distress Oxide Black Soot. I make two of these with the same technique, but with one I add an extra layer to it. I use the Sunray background stencil, again with Black Soot. My goal is to get nice fading rays, so I'm blending a bit more ink to the top and I decrease the amount of ink when I move down with my brush. Now, on both backgrounds I'm going to add splatters off screen with metallic black watercolor. To add some cool shimmer, I use my little spray bottle where I dissolved a bit of water-based metallic silver paint in some water. I dab the excess off with my cleaning cloth and as you can see you end up with a nice shimmer on it. Now, on the bottom side of the frame I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment. I brush this with some baby powder to make it anti-static, take it over to my MISTI and stamp the sentiment with clear embossing ink. After that I sprinkle on the embossing powder, tap off the excess and melt the powder with a preheated heat gun. When it's cooled down, I wipe off the excess baby powder with my cloth. Now, for easy placement on the background, I place the squares back in the frame. I adhere these with some purple tape and I flip the frame over. Now I add glue on the squares. I can now easily align the frame with the background, the one with the rays, and press down so that the squares adhere to it. With the help of my ATG gun, I adhere this panel on a craft paper card base. I do the same with the other background. When that's done, I glue the frame onto the background. I cut the spooky fence from Lawn Fawn 2 times out of black cardstock. I'm using the bottom of the same stitched rectangle die that I used for the background to cut it into a smaller fence. Now I use some liquid glue to adhere these to my cards. One goes on the bottom of the frames and on the other card it goes at the bottom of the card. Now for the moon I adhere one of the clouds to it. This whole piece is glued to the top left corner. The other cloud is glued somewhat in the middle on the right. These clouds break the frame a little. Next, I'm laying down all the images I colored. I used the Fantastic Friends set and its add-on. If you want to see how I colored these beds, check out my previous video, which is also linked in the top corner. I find it easiest to adhere images that go together first, like the branch and the hanging bed, so I can easily flip it over and add some foam tape to adhere to the card. And when all the images are adhered, my cards are finished. I love how you can make two different cards with using the same supplies. It's especially fun to use the rectangles that are cut when you cut the frame, so they don't end up in a random pile of paper pieces for later that I usually don't end up using. I hope you enjoyed watching my video and that you feel inspired to get crafty as well. If so, please consider leaving a thumbs up, subscribing to my channel and ringing the bell to receive a notification when a new video is up. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye!